We got Anasol, man. I just dropped a video on my second channel, bro. Little Boosie Throwback Thursday. Make sure y'all go check that out in the description down below, or you can wait till all the way to the end, and then it'll have a video that I posted on there. But let's go ahead and get into it. Anasol, huh?
January 2018, and a college student's Tinder match turns into their worst nightmare. What started as a missing person case in sunny Orange County would spiral into something way darker. A twisted tale of secret identities, neo-Nazi extremists, and a dating app meetup gone horrifically wrong. When 19-year-old Blaze Bernstein was killed, it wasn't just another true crime story. It was a wake-up call about how the apps we use every day can connect us with people who aren't who they seem to be, and how online hate can have deadly, real-world consequences. Blaze Bernstein was the kind of person who transformed ordinary moments into extraordinary ones. Born on April 27, 1998, to Gideon Bernstein and Jeannie Pepper, Blaze grew up in a loving family of 5 in Lake Forest, California. His mother would later describe him as the unicorn, uniquely creative, brilliantly talented, and unapologetically himself.
I'm sorry, my mama called me a unicorn. We're gonna have some problems.
Unicorn.
As
a student at the Orange County School of the Arts and later at the University of Pennsylvania, Blaze flourished. He was a gifted writer, a passionate cook, and an active member of his Jewish community.
Wait a minute.
There were like 19 years with so many moments of brilliance and beauty.
Friends described him as someone who lived authentically, embracing both his Jewish heritage and his identity as a gay man. His oldest friend, Rhea Rasmussen, recalled the moment Blaze came out to her on a California beach, a private moment of vulnerability that demonstrated the trust and acceptance that defined their friendship. By winter break of his sophomore year at Penn, Blaze seemed to be hitting his stride. He was excelling in his studies, exploring creative writing, and considering a career in medicine. When he came home for the holidays in December 2017, he cooked gourmet meals for his family and looked forward to quality time together before returning to school. Those final days at home were filled with the kind of moments families treasure forever. Blaze lighting Hanukkah candles with his siblings, cracking jokes in the kitchen while experimenting with new recipes, and staying up late talking with his parents about his dreams for the future. Nobody knew these ordinary moments of joy would be their last together. Just one day before he was scheduled to return to college, Blaze disappeared into the night. There would be no proper goodbyes, no last hugs, no text me when you get there, just the crushing silence of an empty bedroom and unanswered calls that would haunt his family forever. On January 2nd, 2018, Blaze secretly left his parents' house. He had a dental appointment scheduled with his mother for the next morning, but when the time came, he never showed up. His phone went straight to voicemail.
My mom would have knew something up. Yeah, that's just weird. Out of the blue is crazy. Out of the blue is kind of...
contained all his essentials, wallet, retainer, keys, glasses. Something was terribly wrong. Blaze's parents first called everyone they knew to
all that stuff for them too. Definitely.
Be a friend of his, but no one had seen him that day. Desperate for answers, his parents made the difficult...
If you've been injured in a recent car accident that wasn't your fault, I'm going to show you how I got
decision to access his social media accounts. They managed to log into his Snapchat, which, by the way, is famous for its self-destructing messages. There they discovered their son had sent his home address to someone named Samuel Woodward, a name they had never heard before. When Gideon called this mysterious contact, the conversation they recorded would later become crucial evidence. Gideon initiated the call.
We just cracked in that Snap account and it was saw that you had been trying to find him, so you're the first real clue to the puzzle here.
Sam responded by saying he had picked Blaze up at 11. He explained they drove to the BGO park and parked there. When Gideon asked if Blaze got out of the car, Sam said yes, both of them had gotten out. Sam claimed Blaze was planning to meet another friend there and walked down a path into the darkness.
Yeah, he got out of the car, and I got out of the car too. I shouted out, Blaze, but I didn't see anything. I didn't hear anything.
Sam described the meetup up as more of a spur-of-the-moment kind of thing, and said they knew each other from OSHA, Orange County School of the Arts. When Gideon asked if this was the best number to reach Sam, Sam replied, yes sir it is, and added, I want to find Blaze as much as you do. For 7 agonizing days, the community searched. Hundreds of volunteers distributed flyers. Rabbi Arnold Rockless coordinated efforts from the University Synagogue, where Blaze had been an active member and role model. Then, on January 10th, after heavy rains shifted the earth in Borrego Park, investigators made a devastating discovery. Blaze's body buried in a shallow grave, hidden under branches and dirt. The brutality was shocking. Blaze had been stabbed 28 times. This level of violence could only mean intense personal hatred. As investigators dug deeper into Blaze's disappearance, a mountain of evidence began pointing towards Samuel Woodward. It contained both Woodward's and Blaze's DNA. This wasn't just a trace amount either. It suggested a violent struggle had taken place inside the vehicle. But the most damning piece of evidence was discovered during a search of the Woodward family home. A knife crusted with blood that matched Blaze's DNA. When Samuel had tried to clean the weapon, he hadn't done a thorough enough job. The knife would become the centerpiece of the prosecution's case. Meanwhile, when police started interviewing Blaze's friends about Samuel Woodward, what they heard was chilling. One friend was completely shocked that Blaze would even consider meeting up with Samuel, describing him as crazy and not in a good way. Another friend put it more bluntly, telling investigators there were only 2 possible reasons why Samuel would want to meet up with Blaze. He either wanted to
sneaky link. He's on the down low. Basically, that's what I'm trying to say. And he killed him, which is crazy.
Secretly hook up with him, or he planned to murder him. There was no in between. These weren't just casual observations. Friends described how Samuel had a reputation at Orange County School of the Arts for being deeply disturbing. Rhea Rossman recalled him drawing guns in his notebooks during class. Police would find these words written in one of his notebooks. Text is boring, but murder isn't. As it goes in cases involving young people, many of Samuel's friends thought he was a weirdo, but was not a walking, talking red flag that needed more attention. We don't really take signs like these seriously until the worst happens. We don't really want to believe that someone in our inner circle could harbor such dark thoughts. The investigation revealed a perfect storm. A deeply troubled young man with a history of violent ideation, evidence of premeditation through their Tinder conversations, and forensic proof linking him directly to Blaze's murder. What made it even more tragic was how preventable it seemed. Multiple people had recognized Samuel's dangerous potential, but like so many warning signs in hindsight, they only became crystal clear after it was too late. Plus, few people knew Samuel was
damn, I thought I looked real bad.
Himself exploring his repressed sexuality.
The problem with the biggest dating apps that I've always believed is that the primary focus is firstly on physical attraction through photos.
While terrified of his homophobic father. As investigators dug into Samuel Woodward's background, they uncovered a disturbing portrait of isolation, extremism, and internal conflict. Born the same year as Blaze, Woodward had struggled from an early covered a disturbing portrait of isolation, extremism, and internal conflict. Born the same year as Blaze, Woodward had struggled from an early age. By 3rd grade, he was swearing more than his older brother and teenage schoolmates combined. And by age 10, he had developed an obsession with World War II, specifically Nazi ideology. Diagnosed with autism and struggling socially, Woodward briefly attended the Orange County School of the Arts before being pulled out. His conservative Catholic upbringing, combined with his own challenges fitting in, led him down a dangerous path of online radicalization. Woodward found his community on iFunny, a Russian-owned meme-sharing website that had become a breeding ground for extremism due to lax moderation. There, he connected with Atomwaffen Division, a neo-Nazi group so extreme that multiple countries have designated it as a terrorist organization. His involvement wasn't casual. Photos emerged of Woodward wearing the group's signature skull mask. He traveled to Colorado to meet neo-Nazi leader James Mason and attended an Atomwaffen hate camp where members trained in extremist ideology and tactics. The tragic irony of this case lies in how Woodward and Blaze connected. Tinder, despite his outward
shut up.
Hatred of LGBTQ plus people, Woodward had set his dating preferences to match with both men and women. He flirted with Blaze, and according to his internet history, frequently visited gay dating sites and porn. They exchanged messages sporadically until winter break provided an opportunity to meet in person. What happened next would show how deadly the combination of self-hatred, fear, and extremism can be. When police finally caught up with Samuel Woodward, it wasn't in some dramatic raid or standoff. Undercover officers simply waited until he pulled out of his Newport Beach driveway and then stopped his car. During interrogation, Woodward painted a very different picture of that January night than what he'd told Blaze's father on the phone. According to him, they'd driven to BGO Park, where Blaze, confident and comfortable with his sexuality, took the lead. Woodward, claiming this was his first gay encounter, described himself as nervous.
I know she ain't just put Peacock blinders on her. Alright, I'm gonna let her have that one.
And hesitant. They smoked a joint to calm his nerves, and that's when things took a dark turn. Woodward told investigators he started nodding off from the weed. When he came to, he claims he noticed his pants were unbuckled and saw Blaze holding his phone. I just came undone, he told them. I went into a state of just terror. He said he panicked, thinking Blaze had taken compromising photos that could expose his sexuality. Investigators would later confirm no such photos existed on Blaze's phone. The fear of being outed to his ultra-conservative Catholic father had apparently triggered something monstrous in Woodward. When asked about the actual stab, nothing I'd ever felt in my whole life. The prosecution would later argue this wasn't just panic or rage. It was premeditated murder, fueled by both internalized and externalized hate. This version of events, the scared, closeted young man defending his secret, might have garnered some sympathy, if not for everything investigators found on his computer. Rather than showing remorse or trauma over what he'd done, Samuel seemed to be basking in the approval of his extremist community.
Now the man accused of stabbing a teenager to death has taken the stand in his own defense.
It would take over 6 years for justice to arrive. When Woodward finally appeared in court in April 2024, he was almost unrecognizable.
For the very first time, the accused killer of 19-year-old Blaze Bernstein is speaking out. 2 months after the start of his murder trial, 26-year-old Samuel Woodward was called up to testify by his defense attorney, Ken Morrison.
With long, unkept hair obscuring his face, observers compared him to Charles Manson. His defense attempted to paint the murder as an impulsive act.
I am so glad the red man's back in power. There's a new rule in all 50 states, and you can get 7...
Driven by panic.
I was damn sure gonna say that too. I was gonna say he looked like Charles Manson, but he looked like Michael Myers too.
And sexual repression rather than hate. The defense also spoke of his diagnosis with ASD and OCD and the extremely conservative atmosphere in his home. Samuel also spoke, saying that he had the knife on him that night simply because of his old habits as a Boy Scout. But his words about the moment he took Blaze's life worked against him. Woodward's words in court paint a heartbreaking picture of a young man so terrified of his father's reaction to his sexuality that he'd rather commit murder than face it. And yes, it's tragic that in 2018 and even now, there are still families where children grow up knowing they will be rejected, hated, or worse if they come out. The damage of growing up in a household where you have to hide who you are, where you learn to hate a fundamental part of yourself, runs deep. But here's the thing, lots of people grow up in homophobic households. Lots of people struggle with accepting their sexuality. Most of them don't join neo-Nazi groups. Most of them don't stab someone 28 times. The cruel irony of this case is staggering. Woodward literally matched with Blaze on Tinder, setting his preferences to see other...
Goddamn, Anna Saul, she got a little grouse with there, and then goddamn, girl. I ain't never heard her get that. She must be heated record this. I ain't never heard her
to meet up, and then he unalived Blaze for being exactly what Woodward himself was trying to explore. Gay. It's like he killed the part of himself he couldn't face, using Blaze as a proxy. But being in pain doesn't give anyone the right to inflict pain on others. Being scared doesn't justify making others fear for their lives. And struggling with your identity doesn't excuse taking someone else's life, especially not the life of someone who had done the brave thing something Woodward couldn't, living authentically. While we can acknowledge the tragedy of Woodward's internal struggle, we cannot let it overshadow the bigger tragedy. Blaze Bernstein, who chose to live openly and honestly, was murdered for that very courage by someone who couldn't find the same courage in himself. On July 3rd, 2024, the jury found Woodward guilty of first-degree murder with a hate crime enhancement. The verdict meant life without the possibility of parole.
Difficult to describe the impact of this crime on my family, friends. He is guilty.
Sent from around the world bear messages of love and acceptance. His parents established.
It's fucked up too, though. Like he a coward for real.
The Blaze It Forward campaign, promoting random acts of kindness in their son's memory. Blaze Bernstein's story has become a symbol of larger issues facing our society. The persistence of hate in the digital age, the dangers of online radicalization, and the continued vulnerability of LGBTQ plus individuals. But it's also a reminder of the power of love over hate. As his mother said, Blaze's life mattered, and his legacy is to create good news, to inspire people to be better, to be kinder, and to work on repairing the world. Here's the scary truth about our online world. The same apps that help us connect can hide.
Yeah, that's it. Hey man, real fucked up what happened. Not gonna lie. Sadly, it's a lot of cases like this. Sadly. But I don't even know what to say. Shit crazy. That being said, give the video a thumbs up, like, share, and subscribe. I just dropped a throwback Thursday on my second channel. It's gonna be in the description down below, or it's finna pop up right now. Make sure y'all go check that out. I don't know what way it's gonna be. I think I'm gonna say this way. Make sure y'all go check it out. You know what I'm saying? Subscribe to that channel. See y'all when I see y'all. Let's ride, nigga.